hit the record button on my camera, and I didn't hit the stream instead of hitting the stream button. So I've been recording and not streaming, which is worse, because I don't want all that film in my goddamn memory. Like, it's a lot of video. That's 2 hours of video. I don't need all that shit in my memory. My laptop's gonna tell me I need to clean up some space after this. So everybody that's on YouTube, Twitch, and everything, you guys are just now joining us. You're now catching just about the last hour of the podcast, which is great. Go back and listen to the rest of it. All right, but when it came to week 18 of the NFL season, I'm over here looking at it and I'm like, okay, we have one more week of the Blue Chew Go Hard or Go Home game of the week, and I don't know if I have a game that qualifies. Like, that was the hardest thing this week, because there's so much conjecture this week. There's so many idiosyncrasies. There's so many there's so many teams that there's so much posturing that's going to be going on this week. COVID, obviously we all know about COVID. On top of COVID, we have teams that aren't playing for anything. We have players that aren't going to play. This is the last week of the NFL. This is basically Wild Wild West shit. It's going to start off Saturday with Dallas versus Philly. And while both of these teams, you know what? This could qualify as one of my Blue Chew. This easily qualify as one of my Blue Chew Go Hard games of the week. Both of these teams are in the playoffs. They're not. See, this is still so weird, because we know that Dallas isn't really. See, they don't need to beat it. Like, they're not gonna fall out of the playoffs if Dallas doesn't win, but they can lose their position. So in a weird way, right, for Philly and for Dallas, they're trying to maintain pole position more than anything else. Dallas can't be eliminated out the playoffs. And if I am not mistaken, let's see here. Can Philly? Yeah, and Philly needs to win as well, because Philly could come out the playoffs. That's just like, so this may actually be one of my Blue Chew Go Hard games of the week. It's because there's not a lot of games that have meaning to them. Green Bay versus Detroit coming up. Green Bay should be able to win that game easily. Detroit doesn't have a whole lot to play for. Detroit just likes to play hard. We have Indianapolis versus Jacksonville also coming up. Indianapolis is in the playoffs. They're still trying to make sure that they made a playoff spot. Jacksonville has been sucking all year. Jacksonville has none in the playoffs. I'm not quite sure if we're going to see Trevor Lawrence or not. I mean, they might as well go ahead and sit him down. They already have running back issues. Who knows how COVID is gonna look? We expect Indiana to come out and play this game. This is another tailor-made game for a big performance. We have Washington team football taking on the New York Giants. Now, why this happens to be one of the rivalry games of the week. We know that both of these teams happen to be playing for absolutely nothing. Zeros, nada, zilch, nyeh. Right? So, really, this game is just about pride more than anything else. And if you're telling me that all they're playing for is pride, then you're telling me that I have absolutely no reason to watch this game. Both the Washington team football, Washington whatchamacallit, as we like to call them, Washington what the fucks, right? Like, they absolutely have nothing to be played for. Neither did the New York football Giants. Damn, Daniel, you fucked up again, right? After that, we have Chicago taking on Minnesota. Now, this may just be one of the harder games to call, but again, Minnesota and both Chicago, right? Actually, let me make sure about that Minnesota statement. Yes. So Minnesota and both Chicago have absolutely nothing to play for. So this game, again, is one of those games where I'm looking at, okay, there's nothing really going on here. This is just a game this is just another one of those games. I said I have Washington beating the New York Giants. Let's go ahead and say that Kirk Cousins comes out and pull one last hat trick out of his thing and manages to get his team over to 8-9 and fool everybody, or at least remind everybody that he is just about an average quarterback that puts up average winning numbers. After that, we have New England versus Miami. Miami has already been eliminated. They with a current record of 8-8, and the New England Patriots, they're just trying to see if they can possibly better their position. So there are a few, like I said, everybody has a little thing to play for. Some teams have nothing to play for. That's why it makes none of this. It makes it semi-interesting, but not fully. Like, New England Miami is a rivalry game. Miami can play spoiler here, right? Not to eliminate the Patriots out of the playoffs, but just to fuck up their pole position. Because the position where these teams get their poles is important this year. Because only the first person gets to bye. But we expect the New England Patriots to go ahead and beat Miami, even though the Miami has been on a ridiculous winning streak for the second half of the season. It's really weird that Miami would be eliminated and they both have a record of 8-8. But that's not for me to be concerned with. We have New Orleans taking on Atlanta. Again, this is another team where both teams are eliminated out of the play. I shouldn't say both teams are eliminated out of the playoffs. Atlanta is eliminated out of the playoffs. The New Orleans Saints are kind of still on the bubble. Again, rivalry game. Remember, the NFL did something a couple of years back where they decided that, you know what? We're going to make the last couple of games of the week. We're going to make sure that we make these a lot of rivalry games. So what you get to see here is that even where a lot of teams aren't playing for anything, their opponent that they're playing ends up being a division rival a lot of times. And if you're playing your division rival and you can play spoiler alert because you fuck up their run or you fuck up their position, then guess what? You get to go home that week with a little bit bigger smile on your face. Not just because you won the game, but because you also fucked the rival. We have Tennessee also going ahead and taking on Houston. As we know right now, the Tennessee Titans are the number one team in the AFC as it currently stands, and they are going to want to try to hold on to that position. It shouldn't be hard while taking on the Houston Texans, who has had one of the worst records the whole entire year. But again, rivalry game. Now, my other Blue Chew Go Hard or Go Home game of the week. Like I said, we added Dallas and Philly into the Blue Chew Go Hard or Go Home game of the week. I think I was going to add another team in here, but I think I'm going to leave that alone. We're also going to add Pittsburgh and Baltimore into that mix because in a very weird way, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are also on the bubble as well. Now, they are going to need a massive, when I say massive, I mean a massive amount of help to be able to get in. And it's really crazy at the beginning of the season that the number one team that they probably thought was going to make it into the playoffs from this division in the Cleveland Browns is the first team to be eliminated. Just saying. Now, this is one of those games that you never knew what they're gonna get, right? You have Baltimore sitting there. They're playing in Baltimore. They're taking on Ben Roethlisberger. You don't know if Lamar Jackson is gonna play. He's probably gonna be sitting out again this game. Ben Roethlisberger has completely looked like shit, but they managed to muster up everything that they had completely the last game to give Ben Roethlisberger his steel curtain call. But you guys already know how I feel about Baltimore. I don't like to bet against Baltimore too often, so I'll pick Baltimore to go ahead and win this game. After that, we have the New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. New York Jets has been eliminated with one of the fifth worst records in the league, and as we know, the Buffalo Bills are still trying to maintain pole position. They're in the playoffs and they don't want to lose standing. These teams want to play at home as much as possible if they can. Next up, we have the Ohio game, which is Cincinnati versus Cleveland. Again, Cleveland is eliminated from the playoffs. We have Cincinnati in the playoffs. Joe Burrow probably won't play in this game due to his knee sprain from the last game when he made that pass that would end up being called as a pass interference that would help them take a knee and also and eventually kick a field goal to win last week's game. He's not going to be playing in this game. Again, only thing that could really happen with Cincinnati is that their pole position may be affected. Bengals currently right now have a record of 10-6, tied with the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. I don't know why I thought the Patriots had a record of 8-8. I was tripping. We also have the LA Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, Las Vegas and LA both eliminated. This game means nothing. Let's see if the Chargers can come away with a victory. But who knows, right? Vegas has fought this whole entire year, right? So I'll give a little bit of love at the end of the season to the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Because the Las Vegas Raiders have fought all year. They're not fully eliminated from the playoffs. Actually, neither one eliminated for the playoffs. We have the Las Vegas Chargers and the LA Raiders sitting at the 7th and 8th spot. My bad. This is another one of those few games that have a little bit of meaning to it. Actually, this is another one of those. Actually, this is one of the few games that actually really qualifies outside of Pittsburgh and Baltimore as a go hard or go home game. We have the Chargers and the Raiders both with a record of 9-7. Both in the AFC West, and they are literally in position to see if they can eliminate each other from the playoffs right now. Just like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens are doing the same thing as well. Now, granted, like I said, Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens are going to need a little bit more help. Some of that help will come from Chargers versus Raiders, and also depending on what happens with the Colts, who are taking on Jacksonville. The Colts may be the most secure team out of them all. The Colts and the Patriots. We have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the LA Rams. San Francisco 49ers are in the playoff hunt as well. They are in that 6th spot, and they're trying to secure that spot as well as they take on the LA Rams, who is trying to see if they can stay in that number 2 spot, or possibly even catch the Green Bay Packers, who we don't expect to lose it when they play against Detroit. But who knows what happens when Detroit. So see, while a lot of these teams aren't playing teams that are in the playoffs, they just need to win just to maintain their current position, their current matchup, or to maintain home court advantage. Oh yeah. Or even just to maintain home court advantage, and that's gonna be one of the big things that's gonna be happening with San Francisco and the LA Rams. Next up, we have Kansas City taking on Denver, and the Denver Broncos have been officially eliminated from the playoffs with a record. Let me make sure I'm saying this right, because I keep saying these teams are eliminated, and then 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh no, here they are. Here goes the Denver Broncos. But no, the Denver Broncos have already been eliminated. Kansas City is really just trying to make sure that they can continue to stay on top of their division. Maybe the Tennessee Titans lose to Houston. You never know. This is why everybody, regardless of if they think they're tied in or not, whether you think that, Tennessee has a game that's locked in or not, Kansas City, you still want to win. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you still just want to win. Because you never know what can happen. And last but not least, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle Seahawks have been eliminated from the playoffs, which has a whole entire football world wondering what is going to happen with Russell Wilson and this Seattle Seahawks team. Arizona, again, they're in the playoff hunt right now, on the playoff mix right now. They don't want to lose their position. Actually, they would like to advance their position if they can. They are tied right now with the Dallas Cowboys, and who knows what can happen with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles game. Like, there could be an upset there, and if there is an upset there, then that helps Arizona just improve their positioning. And like I said, while there is only one bye this week, you want to try to secure as many home games as possible, or the potential to get as many home field games as possible. So week 18 is one of those weird. It's like it has a bunch of snoozers. It has a couple of snoozers in there, but it has a lot of games that have a lot of playoff implications. A lot of posturing and jousting for position. And when this is done, and we come back on Monday, we will basically have everything laid out, everything planned, and everything ready, and we'll have NFL playoffs. Wild card games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Consuming the whole entire weekend, book ending it with the day before and the day after. Malik Monk is balling for the Lakers right now. 10 for 22. I think they said he got 27 points. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Like I said, we only have 3 games that we're going to qualify for our Blue Chew Get In or Go Home guard game of the week. And that's going to be Dallas versus Philly, Chargers versus Vegas, Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. Thank God we get a Pittsburgh versus Baltimore, because those games are always a bloodbath anyway. Those games are always a hard-ass game that you're going to want to see. It's like, guys, you're going to want to see us again when we return on Wednesday night, same time, 8:07 p.m.-ish for the MyT Sports Podcast. Guys, I hope you continue to catch a wave that never subsides. I'm glad that you listen to the podcast. Don't you guys forget to like, listen, share, hit the little notification bing bong button so you can get notified every single time that we pop up and we drop a pod to you. Guys, thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again. I appreciate you listening. We'll be back Wednesday night. Hope you guys continue to catch a wave that never subsides. Hey, yo, DJ MyT, play my outro so I can stop rambling.
Sorry, B. I tried. Honest. All the bandwidth in the world couldn't keep me contained. No lag, no lag. Gonna share my talents with Podbean Live. Always knew I'd take the pod there. Just a lot later than a lot of listeners thought. Last of the real gabbers. Well, maybe not the last. Munchkin got good mic skills. New, improved MyT podcaster. Potting down now. Last call for drinks. Bars closing. Sun's out. Heard the casino got a buffet breakfast. Don't want to go far. Wild night. Tired, B. Tired. MyT
Sports Podcast.